This is the plaintiff, Alexis Andrus. She says her friend, the defendant, drove her car into a brick wall and an old lady. Now she's having one heck of a time collecting money for all the damages the girl caused. This whole thing's been one big nightmare for her. The defendant's now threatening and harassing her on Twitter, and she just wants the madness to stop. She's suing for $3,000, the amount owed. This is the defendant, Stephanie. She says the plaintiff got in the car, threw her dog in the back seat in the middle of a turn, yelled at her, and she panicked. She ended up taking her eyes off the road for a split second, and she hit a wall and a person. She doesn't feel she owes the plaintiff anything because the accident was her fault, because she distracted her, and she thinks the judge will agree. She's accused of hitting the wall with a friend.
All parties, please raise your right hand.
Welcome back to the People's Court. Next case in the docket, the plaintiff says the defendant drove her car into a brick wall and hit an old lady. The defendant says the accident happened because the plaintiff yelled at her in the car. It's the case of never hit a woman or a wall.
Alexis and Edward Andrus?
Edward is my grandfather.
Okay. And the car is under his name?
Yeah.
As well as yours?
He signed a paper so we could be
giving you power of attorney.
Yeah.
Okay. Alexis and Edward Andrus, you are suing Stephanie. You've asked us just to refer to you by your first name for $3,000 to repair your car because according to you, Stephanie crashed it. Tell me what happened.
She picked me up from work.
Why?
I was recently dropped from school and I was like crying.
Dropped from financial aid or
dropped from school for my grades.
Okay.
And I called Stephanie and I asked her to come pick me up from work because I left the keys left my keys with her at her apartment. Okay. And she picked me up. And
now in your complaint you say, I had found out that I was dropped from school and I was crying, so I called her and asked her to get my keys and come pick me up and take me to the financial aid office. Is that right?
Yes, because I thought it was financial aid. So she was picking you up in order to take her to the financial aid office to try to what? To try to talk to the school because that's where they told me to go to. But I thought you were dropped for grades. I was. And you didn't know that? I didn't know that at the time. I thought it was because of my financial aid. Okay. So she picked me up. She had the puppy in the car. I put the puppy in the back seat and... When did you put the puppy in the back seat? Like a few seconds after I got in the car. Because he was hopping... before she pulls out? Yeah. And so, because he was hopping around, so I put him in the back seat and I put my head down because I was crying. And when I looked up, there was a brick wall. And I asked... How far away from where she picked you up did the accident? Not even a block away. Okay. And I looked up and there was a brick wall and I got out the car. When I finally got out the car, I was like, what happened? She was like, I turned around and looked at Max and that's the puppy. And there was an old lady on the floor. You hit the old lady? She hopped the curb. She hit the old lady? Yeah. She hopped the curb and hit the old lady and hit the brick wall. Oh my gosh. What happened?
So my dog was asleep. She actually had my dog on her. She didn't, before we pulled off, she still had my dog on her lap. When I was actually turning the corner, when I got into the car accident, she threw my dog in the back because she was upset and he was jumping around. So she threw him. And when she threw him, I looked back. When I looked back to my eyes of the road for quick seconds, and we just smashed into a human. When she started panicking, how is the lady? How's the lady? She had scrapes on her knees, and that's it. Yeah. Oh, thank God. All right. So, and was she, how old, when you say elderly?
She was elderly.
What's elderly? Probably like...
Don't be very careful, ladies. Very careful.
Probably like 60s.
Yeah, you better say higher. All right. So in any event, she's all right. She doesn't go to the hospital or anything.
Right there and then when I asked her if she needed an ambulance, she said no. She actually got up and left.
Oh,
the police came and they was asking for descriptions and they found her eventually later on.
Okay, she's suing you or you don't know?
She's not suing me.
Okay. So you had a car accident because you took your eyes off the road to pay attention to the dog, hit a wall and while you were driving her car and hit a person. Okay, why am I here?
At first, I wanted
What's your defense? I guess I'm trying to figure it out. It's her fault because she put the dog, she threw, quote unquote, the dog in the back?
Yes, and then I wanted to help at first, but then she was telling me different prices. She told me at first it was $6,000. Told my other friend it was $3,000.
What kind of car is this?
It's a 2003 Hyundai Sonata.
Yeah. What's the value of the? What's the
we
Blue
paid
Book
$5,500 for it.
I don't care what you paid for it. What's the Blue Book value today of your used car?
Oh, I
that's the measure of damages in court. If you use a car for 5 years, you don't get to use it for free. So the value that you are entitled to in court when someone damages your property is the depreciated value of the item on the minute that it's damaged. You understand? So if you have a car that's worth $2,000, you don't get to get $3,000 or $5,000 or $7,000 for it because that's what you paid for it or that's what somebody wants to charge you to fix it. You are capped at the total loss value of the vehicle. And we have a method for figuring that out. There's an actual company that's their only business, and they're used by the entire auto industry, is to figure out the value, the market value of a used car. It's called Kelley Blue Book. There's a couple of companies that do it. Did you actually take it in to see if it could get fixed?
Yeah, I have the report right here for it.
Can I ask something else?
Yeah.
Then when we talked about it later on, she started telling me it was $7,000. That's when I started questioning her. I asked her if she could show me any statements, and her mom was supposed to email me. She never emailed me. When I told her if I could see it, she told me I wasn't a mechanic, so she wasn't trying to show me anything.
Why would you guys not show her the stuff?
Because we didn't have it yet. When we got it, I told she was
she ain't gonna pay you until you show her the invoice. I mean.
When I got it, she was like, well, I need a list of parts so I can order them. And I told her
they don't have to agree to let you do it in a chop shop.
That's what she wanted to do.
Yeah, no, they don't have to. They can pick who they want to do it. But, the way this is done is you get a couple of estimates and you show her that this is a legitimate estimate. For example, when Dependable Motors gives you an estimate for $5,700 to fix a car where the Blue Book value is worth $2,000, that is not illegitimate. And maybe that's what they feel it's going to cost to fix a car, but you're not going to get that in court, and you're not going to pay to fix a $2,000 car. You're not going to pay $6,000 to fix it. You're going to buy a new car, right?
So is it a defense that the defendant is saying, I was looking at the plaintiff's dog because the plaintiff's dog is moving, and that's why I hit the wall on the lady?
No, because it's the same as texting and driving. It's better off to pull over and put it in park and deal with the dog.
God, does anybody have anything to add? Because I think she kind of said it all.
They should have put the doggy seatbelt, yeah.
Oh, doggy seatbelt. Gotcha. Okay, going inside the courtroom.
So, is it drivable or no?
No.
Where is it?
It's sitting in our yard at home.
Okay, so when you say that you wanted to work with them, did you ever pay anything for it? Or no, because you couldn't come to terms with what you were supposed to pay?
Yeah, I couldn't pay, I didn't pay anything because they weren't cooperating with me at all.
Okay, and who's they, the mom?
Well, I was talking to Alexis, so.
You guys aren't roommates, are you?
No.
We live in the same apartment building.
You live in the same apartment building? How's this stress on your friends? Are you trash talking each other on Facebook? Or do you show some respect? You weren't. Was she?
On Twitter.
On Twitter. What was she saying on Twitter?
She was saying, oh, this is going to make me come out my character. I'm going to get kicked out. The only way you get kicked out, well, she would get kicked out was for fighting.
But I said I wasn't.
And then her friend was like, who? And she was like, Alexis. So they were clearly talking about me.
How old are you?
I just turned 21.
How old are you?
I'm 19.
How many times has a grown-up, an elderly person, told you that say it, forget it, write it, regret it? So you write that down, and now somebody rats you out on the people's court, and the entire nation knows that you're a jerk because you crashed your car, and instead of feeling bad, you don't pay it, and then you trash talk against her on Twitter, right? Don't live your life so publicly. I'm going to order you to pay her the Blue Book value of a car, which is $2,220. That's my verdict judgment for the plaintiff. Pay the lady.
Thank you.
This is the defendant out here in the hallway. Step next to me here, if you would. What's going through your mind here? I mean, it was so obviously your fault, according to the testimony.
It wasn't fully showed that way, but it happens, I guess.
What? I mean, what do you mean?
None of this would have occurred if she wouldn't throw the puppy.
Threw the puppy.
And then I was trying to help.
But you're the driver. I mean, the driver's responsible for what goes on in that vehicle.
But she's also responsible for not letting me drive her car.
Okay. And what the judge said about not living your life so publicly, tweeting everything that comes through your head, good idea or bad idea?
It's a good idea.
Okay. All right. Around the corner here with Officer McIntosh, okay?
All right, step on in here. You know, if you wouldn't have thrown the dog, none of this would have happened. I mean, what's going on here?
I'm just glad I'm getting the car fixed.
What about your friendship with...
Doesn't really matter. We're not really friends anymore.
Well, she was the one you called when you had a problem, though, so you must have been pretty good friends at one time.
Yeah, we were, and then...
Just because of this, that whole friendship's...
Well, the Twitter stuff, too. I was just really threw me off a little bit, so...
So are you back in school? Everything cool with you?
Back in school.
All right. Over to Harvey.
You know, the way the law works, you're not allowed to get a windfall when you sue for damage if you're in the right. All you can get is what you're legitimately out. And in a case with a car, you're not out more than the blue book value of the car. That's the most the car is worth. So you can't get damages that exceed blue book value.